This is me, covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us.
I believe that me and my team may have just found some or part of Susan Powell's remains.
The search happening hundreds of feet down, deep inside of a mine in Utah's West Desert. This 12 years after her disappearance.
Found a shotgun. We started finding bones. There was a rib here, a collarbone there, a piece of vertebra. We found clothing.
When I pulled those pants out of the dirt, I thought, this is different.
I'm just grateful that people are still looking for Susan.
And the phone rang, and the voice on the other end said, "When was the last time you saw Susan?" And I instantly kind of felt like dread. What has happened?
28-year-old Susan Powell was last seen Sunday.
It has been 3 days.
4 days and counting.
Been missing for a week.
Josh had taken the children on a middle-of-the-night camping trip. It was freezing cold. None of this makes any sense.
He was like, yeah, the kids are here. No, Susan's not with me. And I was like, well, where is she? You know, and he was like, I don't know.
Who were you camping with?
My dad and my mom.
The children said, Mommy was in the van but didn't come back with us. Pretty significant thing for a 4-year-old to tell a detective.
She even goes as far as to say, if I die, it may not be an accident.
Okay, go and ask one last question.
How am I going to find your wife when I get home?
Puyallup is a smaller town. It's located in an area that's kind of protected from wind and rain from the mountains around it.
It's a suburb of Seattle and Tacoma. It's homey, it's growing, low crime.
Lots of children who live there, lots of families.
How many people are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints?
A lot of really nice people, interconnected through the church. It's kind of a very typical American community.
It is in Puyallup, Washington, where these two families and these two lives intersect. Josh Powell and Susan Cox.
Susan was one of 4 daughters born to Chuck and Judy Cox. She was just, you know, a really typical girl and teenager. She liked to ride horses.
She's my partner in crime. Susan tried to be rebellious, but she had too good of a heart.
She was doing well in church and school, had friends, she loved choir.
She liked her hair done, her nails done, wore stylish clothes.
Susan had gone to cosmetology school. She liked to make other people feel good about themselves.
She got interested in boys as a teenager. She met Josh when she was 18 at a social event for young Mormons, and he was in his 20s, and she hadn't dated a lot.
In the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, if you are unmarried, you can attend a congregation that is for other unmarried individuals. And so Josh and Susan are both kind of circulating in this singles crowd.
There are these incredible home movies taken by Josh's dad, which were later released by police, that show the couple's blossoming relationship.
You cut that out of the tape, right?
When I first met Josh, I guess I thought he was cute. He was very confident, and he thought he could get any girl he wanted.
Susan said that he was treating her really well, and he cared about her, and he promised he'd make her happy.
Josh Powell was a ambitious, strong-headed, kind of nerdy guy.
Just tall, dorky, his head's too big for his shoulders. He just looked awkward.
He's got a job, he's got his own place, and he's going to college, sounding pretty good.
He's going to go to school for business, so he's somebody who is bright when he applies himself.
They quickly fell in love.
You see pictures of them, they looked to be completely smitten.
Josh and Susan's relationship goes from not knowing each other at all in October to being engaged by the end of December.
When she told me she was getting married, I wasn't that supportive because she barely knew him. And she just assured me that she's going to be really happy and that he wanted in life what she wanted in life.
Those videos also capture Josh and Susan's wedding and the home life they built together after.
Susan looked very pretty at her wedding. Very traditional, long white dress.
Yeah. So you put the ring in that box and opened it up, put it on.
She was very excited to show off Josh and start their lives together.
Let's see the ring. Let's see that ring. Hold your hand up, please.
It's a young person's love story that quickly becomes dark.
Yeah.
As little boys, they were rambunctious and mischievous and ran around being typical happy little boys.
What are you watching? Cars.
And Susan loved them more than anything in the world.
Monday morning, December 7th, 2009. They didn't show up.
Debbie Caldwell. She is the daycare provider for Charlie and Braden Powell.
And by 7 o'clock, still no Susan. She had to be to work at 7. So that's not like Susan to be late and not call.
They don't show up that Monday morning as the snowstorm is coming in, and Debbie Caldwell becomes concerned.
Debbie tried to call Susan on the phone, tried to call Josh, couldn't reach anybody.
So I got in the van and I went up the street to her house. And as I pulled into her circle, there was no tire tracks in the driveway. So I pounded on the door and I got no answer.
So Debbie calls the emergency contact, which is Josh's sister Jennifer Graves and Josh's mom, Terry Powell.
The conclusion that we came to was carbon monoxide. They're probably dead in their beds. We ended up calling the police.
911, what is your emergency?
My son and his wife and their 2 children are not responding to calls, or they're not responding to people pounding on their door, and there's no tracks coming out of their driveway. We're worried that maybe gas has been left on or something like that.
And a couple of officers come out on a welfare check. They determine that the best course of action is to break a window to see whether or not the family is in there.
And they said, we'll go in if you'll pay for the window. And so we said, yeah, absolutely.
They find evidence that pointed to some unusual circumstances.
Why would that be here? That just wasn't a normal thing.
Good Monday morning, Utah. It is December 7th.
Snow and ice.
Lick Street, 2 to 4 feet of snow in this.
December 7th, 2009. I was viewing a bank robbery case, and the sergeant asked me to reach out to patrol. They were out on a missing family out on the west side of town.
Jennifer gave permission to the police to break a window and go into the house.
Most officers just kind of shimmied in. He was like, wait, what is up with the fans? There are 2 box fans pointed at the carpet in the living room, and we were all confused.
The officers cleared the entire residence and found nobody inside the home. And the Powell vehicle, which was a blue minivan, it wasn't parked in the garage.
The first thing I saw was Susan's purse was on a table, and I started pulling out things. You know, I found her keys, her wallet, and had her driver's license and her credit card.
You would expect that if she had left on her own, was intending to go someplace, she would have taken those items.
The The kitchen, the master bedroom was fairly clean. I mean, the bed wasn't made. The bedroom for the children, the blankets were missing. But yeah, the house was pretty orderly. There was no sign of a disturbance, physical altercation inside of the residence.
Is it 60?
On the morning of December 7th, I was sitting in my family room, homeschooling my 3 kids, and the phone rang. The voice on the other end said, Josh, Susan, and the boys are missing, and nobody's seen them since yesterday. It's just the most horrible, sickening feeling. I just thought, what has happened?
Susan's friends were afraid that they'd gone out on a jaunt because Josh liked to drive and take photographs and maybe had slipped off a cliff or they'd gotten stuck in the snow.
I made a few phone calls asking other people in the congregation if anyone had seen Susan. Giovanna goes, I actually had dinner with them last night.
Susan asked Giovanna to come over to the house and help her with her knitting and crocheting. While she was there, Josh, who never did anything domestic at all, offered to make people dinner.
She was crocheting on her blanket. I was working on the yarn. Josh and the boys were in the kitchen cooking.
He called his father, Steve, to ask for a recipe for pancakes. Everything he did was a little bit different routine than anybody else would have. He made them one by one. He took a plate into Giovanna. He took a plate with different pancakes made, obviously, into Susan.
He and the boys ate at the table, and he brought our plates into us in the living rooms. I think that was probably very unusual.
I never ever witnessed them ever eating in the living room.
Shortly after that, Susan began to not feel well. Susan laid down, and Josh sort of suggested to Giovanna that it was time for her to leave.
He was going to take the boys sledding, and he and the boys actually drove out before I had finished putting on my seatbelt. That was the last time I saw anybody, around 5.
My brother finally called right away, asked about the kids, asked about Susan, and he was like, yeah, the kids are here. No, Susan's not with me. And I was like, well, where is she? You know, and he was like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, she went to work.
Josh drives all the way south to a place called Point of the Mountain, and he places a phone call to Susan's phone.
Hello, Susan. We are on our way back, and I can't believe that somehow my brain missed the day. I thought today was Sunday. That was really, really stupid. All right, I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.
We sat there and waited. It was a long time. It was an hour, maybe more. Josh finally showed up at the house.
Josh had taken the children on a middle-of-the-night camping trip. It was freezing cold. None of this makes any sense, except to him, he does things spontaneously, without any plan. And he took the kids. He said that he left Susan in the house. She was sleeping.
We really wanted to talk with Josh, and we wanted to record it. We had Josh follow us to the substation. He was adamant about taking the boys with him.
When's the last time you seen her?
Probably about midnight of last night.
Where at?
We're finishing up a movie.
What movie did you guys watch?
Here you go, buddy.
Josh is very evasive, and he uses the kids who are in the room to distract away.
He wasn't forthcoming with answers or information, so it was very frustrating.
And where did you drive to?
Well, I started heading south through Tooele, turned onto the Pony Express.
How far down the Pony Express did you go?
Not very far. Maybe 20 miles, I don't know.
So what did you do once you got there?
Hooked up a heater and had a fire for the boys.
Josh said they drove to Simpson Springs and had s'mores over a campfire. It's not really very clear exactly what happened that evening and the next morning.
We asked him if we could search his minivan, and he agreed. The minivan was full of camping supplies, like there was a tarp, a generator, shovel, graham crackers.
During that search of the minivan, where they find Susan's phone hidden in the center console. It's this pink cell phone, clearly not Josh's.
And he was kind of like deer in headlights. He just kind of looked at us.
In no way did it make any sense. Susan's cell phone is in the van with him. Where the heck was Susan?
Detectives talked to Josh and Susan's son, Charlie.
There was one particular statement that raised a lot of eyebrows.
Who were you camping with? My dad and my mom and my little brother. Dad, your mom, and your brother?
Down the street from the Powells, Kiersey Hillowell sat in a downstairs playroom wondering, where is Susan? Then came the news. It made her heart beat faster. Her stomach turned in somersaults.
I just lost it.
9 o'clock that night, Jennifer told me that Josh and the boys are home, and I'm like, well, where's Susan? And she said, we don't know.
As soon as I heard that he was back and Susan was not with them, I instantly said to myself, what has he done?
It became like this game of telephone, where people were passing along these little bits of information, and suddenly a larger story was coming together.
He said he was out driving around and gone out camping with the boys. And I'm like, are you a crazy man? It was cold.
That is 100% Josh. He did that kind of stuff all the time.
But Susan would have never allowed him to ever take the boys out in the winter to the desert in the middle of the night. Never. I never believed his story at all.
It was determined we didn't have enough probable cause to secure a search warrant for the residence, let alone book Josh into jail, because we didn't have any physical evidence.
The decision was a huge mistake because he burns this metal object into oblivion. So thoroughly destroyed was this item that nobody to this day can say what exactly it was.
Bags and bags of things are shoved into the garbage. Why would you do that the day after your wife disappears?
The following morning, he is observed with the minivan pulled out of the garage, all the doors open, thoroughly cleaning it, wiping it down, vacuuming it.
It was really odd to me because he was running around the house grabbing piles of towels and putting them in the washer, and finally we're like, you've got to go to your interview with the police.
All right, no problem. Have a seat. Let me go grab my notebook and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay. Josh Powell kind of has a uniform of sorts. It's typically a t-shirt, it's a leather jacket, it's denim pants, and it's dingy white shoes. When Josh goes in to talk to the police, in the tape, you see him initially acting very emotional.
I don't know. I didn't even think it was that. It didn't even sink in yesterday.
He's crying. His voice is shaking. He's just trying to hold it together. But as Detective Maxwell continues to push Josh about what's going on, Josh's demeanor changes.
I can't remember what we were doing.
Okay. So you don't remember what you guys did from 6 o'clock till you went to bed on Saturday night?
I just don't remember what activity we were doing.
Josh is not a participant at all in talking about his missing wife.
Shows no urgency in getting out to go look for her.
During the day, but...
Have you checked any places where she could be?
I haven't had much of a chance to do any of that yet.
He asks police no questions about what they're doing to find her.
Jack, what places should we go check to see if we can find her?
think she would be there, but she likes them.
And he offers no suggestions, really, about where they might look.
Okay, let me ask you this before you go.
Go ahead and ask one last question.
How am I going to find your wife without your help?
While I'm interviewing him, another colleague conducted a child forensic interview.
Right there. Yeah. Good job. It's got nice lights, huh? Pretty.
We went to the Children's Justice Center, and they were able to interview Charlie. Braden really wouldn't talk to them.
Okay. Well, what did you do last night?
Go camping.
You went camping? Who were you camping with?
My dad and my mom and my little brother.
The children said, Mommy was in the van but didn't come back with us. A pretty significant thing for a 4-year-old to tell a detective.
We got in the airplane, and the airplane went to Dinosaur National Park.
Oh. You went to an airplane yesterday?
Charlie's interview is perplexing because he says a lot of things that don't make much sense.
Okay, so Charlie, when you guys came home from camping, who came home with you?
My dad.
And?
And my mom stayed at Dinosaur National Park. My mom stayed where a crystal park.
There was one particular statement that raised a lot of eyebrows. Mommy is with the crystals. And how some people interpreted that was that the boys had been with their mom and she was not alive.
Your children are telling our detectives that Mom went with you guys last night and that she didn't come back.
She did not go with us. They know that she didn't go with us.
So your kids lie then? Do your kids lie?
Sometimes they do.
With children, they're going to go from threads of truth and reality to fantasy. And maybe things that happened long before Mom disappeared, they're still in his memory and in his mind sort of fuses together.
She was not with us. I didn't leave her at the Pony Express. I didn't just take her out and drop her off or even do anything. I do want the lawyer, because at this point, I definitely want a lawyer.
Could have I went and booked him into jail? Yeah, I could have. But we wanted to find Susan, so we were putting a GPS tracker on his van. We want him to be out and about and see where he goes.
Instead of picking up his van, he went to the airport. He rented a Ford Focus.
And he vanishes in that rental car for 18 hours. And when he returns that rental car, it has an additional 807 miles on the odometer. To this day, we don't know where Josh went.
Very quickly, the police realized that Josh was lying to them, that he was evasive, and he was not acting like a bereaved husband.
When detectives spoke with Susan's friends, there was a very different picture of this marriage.
She went to see a divorce lawyer, and he told her to make a videotape.
This is me, covering all my bases.
In a developing story, the search continues this morning
for a missing wife and mother in West Valley City.
We had been hearing some buzz in the community that there was a woman who was missing.
28-year-old Susan Powell was last seen
Sunday night, a family dinner with other friends.
It has been 3 days.
4 days and counting. Been missing for a week.
Utah gets missing persons cases almost every day. So this didn't really stand out as anything out of the normal.
ABC4's Brian Carlson is live at the West Valley Police Station tonight.
Until you start to hear some of the details unravel.
We've learned the search warrants for the Powell's home have now been sealed off.
It's strange that he came home with the kids and not her.
West Valley City Police calling this one a puzzler.
Call it suspicious. Not even a clue. If you see her or know anything, please contact the West Valley Police Department.
Her friends and family were just starting to ask questions. They were out there with flyers, just trying to find out where she might be.
Volunteers fanned out, handing out flyers of Susan Powell.
Josh, after Susan went missing,
He went from the guy who was talking about everything and knew everything to somebody who said nothing, knew nothing.
And a husband who says he does not know what has happened to her.
We know the answers are out there, and we need those who know where she is and what happened to come forward.
I held a candlelight vigil a few days into her disappearance, and Josh came to that late.
After the candlelight vigil was over, Josh Powell did show up here in the park with his 2 children, but he quickly left without saying anything.
Charlie had come up to me and he was telling me, Debbie, my hands are cold, my hands are cold. And Josh scooped Charlie up and kind of pulled him away like this.
And reporters were trying to chase him through the snow, and he was walking away from them.
You were camping with the boys?
I have to go get my boys.
There was no point at which Josh ever seemed to even be concerned that Susan was missing. If he wanted to help on the website, he should have detailed a timeline. He never participated in any of the massive, massive efforts that myself and relatives and friends launched to put out flyers in malls and parking lots.
He didn't seem like he was engaged at all in what was going on. It seemed like his mind was somewhere else. He spoke very briefly with local media.
I've been trying to figure out what I can do so I don't sit idle. I'm dealing with this repeatedly.
People were upset that he didn't seem upset that she was missing. And so people thought that's because he's guilty.
Josh, will you give us a comment today?
Pointing the fingers at Joshua, I don't want to do that.
It seemed like initially Josh and Susan were a pretty conservative couple, loving family, couple of kids. We learned that there was a lot of distress, a lot of turmoil in their marriage.
He controlled the money, even though she was the breadwinner.
Josh is very willing to spend money building himself a fancy computer. Susan doesn't get that privilege.
There's my new printer.
With the drawers underneath, shelving.
It's sad to look at that family and know now what was actually going on. Susan was tormented about how troubled the marriage was.
She'd been really happy, he'd been a great husband, and she said that he really changed. He became not affectionate.
Taking a picture of the back of your head.
Awkward to talk about, but they also had issues, you know, in the bedroom. Susan was this beautiful girl, but Josh just was not interested in her sexually. It was just really weird.
He kept her at arm's length. He wouldn't kiss her anymore. He wouldn't touch her. He wouldn't hold her hand.
Josh and Susan's marriage reaches rock bottom in the summer of 2008. Josh and Susan are constantly fighting. They're arguing in front of the kids. Josh is exhibiting extreme control over Susan.
She said one time we were having a screaming fight and I shoved him, pushed me back, and he goes, "If you ever do that again, I'm going to hit you." But she said he never did.
Susan's now starting to think about, I've got to get out of this marriage.
She went to see a divorce lawyer one time for a free consultation at my advice, and he told her to make a videotape of everything in your house.
This is me, July 29th, 2008, covering all my bases, making sure that if something happens to me or my family or all of us, that our assets are documented. And here is our safe. Got all sorts of files, financial information, speakers, 5.1 surround sound. Broke this and threw all my DVDs and made a mess. There's a hole in that wall. Beautiful diamond necklace my mom bought. Jade, that's a family heirloom. Not worth thousands of dollars, but I have assets. Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after, as much as that's possible.
After she would email me a lot and just say it, I want to do everything in my power to save my marriage before I walk away.
Josh had warned her, if you divorce me, you'll never see the children. So she stayed.
Police ended up discovering the safety deposit box that Susan kept secretly from Josh at the bank where she worked. In it, they found a DVD, some savings bonds, and there was a makeshift will and testament.
The last will and testament, handwritten on one piece of paper, both sides, top to bottom, side to side. There was no room to write another word.
She wrote about how bad the marriage had become. She talked about $1 million life insurance policy that Josh had taken out on her. And she told her boys she would never leave them.
She even goes as far as to say, if I die, it may not be an accident.
That is our biggest piece of evidence. It's her last words. There was no doubt that this document was authored by Susan.
The biggest mystery of this case is why didn't police arrest Josh Powell?
I was frustrated because they hadn't arrested him. I felt they had plenty of evidence to arrest him.
Police have officially named Joshua Powell a person of interest in the disappearance of his wife, Susan.
The West Valley City Police Department took a lot of heat for not throwing the handcuffs on Josh.
There's a pile of circumstantial evidence. Is there enough there to arrest him and book him into jail and hold him accountable? Absolutely there is. Could we? No. The district attorney's office would not file any charges. They were very specific and told us that we needed to wait 12 months with no body.
ABC News reached out to the DA at the time, who declined to respond to this claim and refused to comment on the case.
Within days of Susan's disappearance, he had closed their bank accounts, cashed out her retirement fund, took the boys to Puyallup.
People we talked to say they can't believe that Joshua Powell has emptied the house and left what is ground zero in the disappearance of his wife. They say it only casts more doubt on a man they're having an increasingly difficult time believing.
I suddenly had this thought, I should get Josh to confess.
Jennifer volunteered with the police to wear a wire.
What is it doing?
I know what I've done, and I haven't done anything.
Then where is Susan?
For right now, you just endure and take each day as you can.
When Josh told police he took the boys camping in the middle of the night in Utah's West Desert, police started their search there.
Detectives are scouring rocky hillsides and abandoned mine tunnels for any signs of Susan Powell.
But police for months and months would search these mines, taking K-9 teams.
And West Valley police detectives say they plan to survey as many as possible.
The most intense part of this search is happening right at the bottom of this hill.
Investigators are swarming the high desert.
Josh told somebody that the best place to dispose of a body would be in a mine.
This is one of those abandoned mine shafts in which detectives went through.
Nobody'd ever find him.
It's like finding a needle in the haystack. A lot of questions still unanswered at this point.
There's a big part of you missing, and you want to know the truth.
But the family won't give up hope. There are still purple ribbons at their home. There are still stickers on car windows.
Josh decides that he's going to take the boys up to his dad's house in Washington to try to get away from the media circus.
You have anything to say?
Josh, will you give us a comment
You're
today?
a person of interest, Josh.
Josh's dad, Steve Powell, he takes control. He shields Josh from the media and becomes his most ardent defender.
I call it Fort Powell because it became a fortress.
They had the windows, blinds drawn. They kept the house dark inside. When the media would knock, they'd open a crack and say no. They weren't talking to anybody.
Hi, I'm trying to find Josh Powell.
They were just their own little country.
Josh isolates himself from the world. He's not talking to police, he's not talking to media, he's certainly not searching for his missing wife.
I suddenly had this thought, I should try and get Josh to confess.
Even Josh's sister, Jennifer Graves, doesn't believe him. So she goes to police and she volunteers to wear a wire and go inside her dad's house.
They were just about to have dinner and we went in and the boys were so excited to see us. My birthday! It is! It's your birthday, Charlie! I didn't know exactly how to force this confrontation with Josh. I've been hearing rumors that you'll probably be arrested soon.
Well, I don't know.
Suddenly, I just shoved Josh into the bathroom. And at that point, I was like, drop all pretense. Just tell me where her body is. We tried to cover it up. Where is Susan?
Jennifer did a phenomenal job.
I just don't believe it anymore. I can see it in your eyes. There's something there.
You're wrong. Well, like I say,
I think you just need to confess now and get it over with.
ridiculous. I know what I've done, and I haven't done anything.
You told him?
I've already told him the truth. Every fact. I'm not going to violate my attorney's direction.
He still wouldn't budge. He still would not give me anything. I was so frustrated.
Eventually, Steve kicked Jennifer out of the residence, calling her derogatory names.
You are a bitch, is what you are. You talked about your brother and my son that way.
I regret not getting the confession, but I don't regret going.
This is Good Morning America.
And joining us now, Susan's mother and father, Judy.
Susan's parents, from the moment she was missing, they were very involved with the press.
Suspect your son-in-law,
your grandchildren, what they saw.
But very quickly, the tone changed.
We made a conscious decision. The politeness wasn't working, so we basically called him out. Josh is a desperate person. He has no valid explanation for where he was.
Chuck Cox and the family, they're putting the purple ribbons, they got the billboard outside the neighborhood.
All these things, I'm sure, are driving him crazy, but for 18 months he sits in isolation and doesn't talk to anybody about it.
To try to get Josh to talk. We put together the honk and wave.
What in the world is a honk and wave?
Thank you!
And he said, you make these, you're gonna get these huge signs and you stand on the really busy corners and get people to honk and wave to show their support.
Thank you!
It can cause anxiety and disruption in your suspect's mind. People start to do things as the stress tends to build.
They picked a busy street near a store that they knew Steve and Josh shopped at, and Chuck and Judy, others were out there with signs and everything. And there were television cameras there.
We're not gonna stop looking for her no matter how long it takes.
They had these shirts with Susan's face. I think it said, "Have you seen me?" And they had these big posters, and they were waving and balloons and handing out flyers to cars as they went by.
Steve pulled by, and the next thing I know, he's stomping over towards me. You can't do this.
This is a store that I shop at. The only places where they've passed out flyers about Susan, the only place where they've put up billboards, the only place where they've duct taped flyers to light posts.
How is you coming here helping to find Susan?
It isn't helping to find Susan. How is your standing at our neighborhood market helping to find Susan, Chuck?
An extraordinary, personal, and very public confrontation that erupted in the middle of the search for Susan Powell. Several family members were clashing in front of the cameras.
Been all over the media.
Yeah.
If somebody has seen her, then they can report to the police.
And you're only going to do this. Which other stores are you doing this at, Chuck?
It was ugly. It was weird. It was really contentious. I was waiting for the cops to come and haul one of them away.
Since you come out against my family.
Then Josh showed up midway into this confrontation on the street corner, and he had the boys in the van with him.
Chuck Cox uses my sons as pawns in the media to drive whatever message he is trying to drive.
Are you doing okay?
Yeah, that's all right.
I get a call from Josh. We were telling Josh, okay, are you going to do this interview or not? And he finally said yes. You still love her?
Yeah.
He seemed very distant when I spoke to him. He had a hollow look and a stare that I wondered, is he trying to intimidate me? Josh, did you kill your wife? Then there was Steven wanting to be interviewed, and he ends up revealing the biggest bombshell.
There were just sexual things going on between us.
This is your daughter-in-law.
We were watching this on TV, and our jaws just dropped.
Do you see the birdie?
Where?
Don't crawl in the dirt, boys.
Hope everything works out and we're all happy and live happily ever after as much as that's possible.
When she went missing in 2009, it shocked everybody, especially since her story was so bizarre.
10 years on, we're still thinking about her, and we're still thinking about, we want closure on what happened to her.
Searching for the final resting place.
of Susan Cox Powell.
I believe that me and my team may have just found some of Susan Powell's remains. With every bucket load that we pulled out after that, we'd find a piece of vertebrae or a piece of rib.
Holy cow, this could have been where a body, ultimately was.
And I was like, where is she? And he was like, I don't know.
You have anything to say?
Josh, will you give us a comment
You're
today?
a person of interest, Josh.
We can't talk about Susan or camping. I always keep things as secret.
During that interview, it's very clear that Charlie has been coached.
He looked more and more like a psychopath. He was running out of places to hide.
Slams the door in her face and locks it.
This is a story you can't write in a Hollywood script. No one would have thought in a million years that's how the story would have ended.
Susan Powell was a young, beautiful mother of 2 adorable children. She just one night vanished.
Detectives have named Josh Powell a person of interest in the case.
He did some local news, some ambush-style interviews where they would ask him something on the fly. And
You were camping with the boys?
I have to go get my boys.
But he never really sat down and talked about what happened. I'll never forget the first time that I met him. I shook his hand and a chill just raced up through my spine. I just shook the hand of a killer. Are we rolling? Why talk now?
Oh, man. I wanted to come out and say something. People who know me know that I'm a good dad. I was a good husband. I provided for them. Susan also contributed.
Nothing he told me during that interview convinced me that he was not part of what happened to her and why she disappeared. I know that you've told police that you were camping. You brought your 2-year-old and your 4-year-old camping. Is that where you were?
I'm not going to talk about anything that my attorney has specifically told me not to.
Okay. Why not just answer where you were when she disappeared?
Josh, can I suggest something?
His father was there, and his father really wanted to be interviewed, which was odd. And I had really no desire to interview Stephen Powell. At that time, 0. And I just thought, this is such a waste of time. This is pointless. You think she ran away with another man?
It was another man.
I don't think Josh was in the room for that part of the interview. And before you know it, he ends up revealing the biggest bombshell out of all of the interviews that I had done in out of the whole case. What makes you think that she would leave her kids, her 2 young sons, and run away with another man?
With another man. Susan was very, very sexual with me. She was very flirtatious. I mean, she did it. I did. I mean, we interacted in a lot of sexual ways because Susan enjoys doing that.
But this is...
I enjoy doing that.
Why are you telling everyone that? That's not to your benefit, but somehow in my dad's own twisted mind, he thought that that was the greatest strategy to keep the dogs off Josh or something. I don't know.
One day we were at an animal park. I was holding Braden in my arms, and I had my hands like this. The part I remember is that Susan came over to take him from me, and instead of just reaching out and grabbing him, she pressed her breasts against my hands, tightly. And she wouldn't let my hands out. And that's nice. It was a cold day, so it was a nice, warm feeling.
Give me a break. But he loved to talk about it.
Josh and Susan, early in their marriage, move in to Steve Powell's home.
Susan had often referred to her father-in-law as creepy, but she, I don't think, had any idea how creepy the man truly was.
No, I'll do this.
And during this period of time, Steve Powell is constantly filming Susan. This is a man who is collecting video for his own perverse gratification. Because Steve Powell is a voyeur.
He wrote a number of songs about Susan.
Stephen Powell even recorded them and posted them on his website.
I can love you in a secret way. I can love you each and every day.
He had a pseudonym he used, Steve Chantre.
While Josh and Susan were living with my dad, there was a point where she was alone in the car with my dad for a short time while Josh was in the house, and my dad actually hit on her.
He has put his camera in the bag on the center console and left it recording. And so the audio of this conversation is captured.
I've really fallen in love with you. You know, for the last year and a half, you're about the only thing I can think about. And just, for example, when we were sitting on the couch, it just felt like you were very, you know, I mean, I was extremely aroused, and I think you were somewhat aroused, at least I thought.
I don't know where you're going with this.
That audio was an opportunity to hear Susan in her own voice, telling Steve in no uncertain terms she was not interested.
I'm kind of meaning to talk to you about this, because I realized the last time I came over and that my own father doesn't kiss me and you kiss me, and I didn't like that.
She was extremely upset about that and disturbed, but even more disturbed when Josh just said that that's his dad.
I mean, he was obsessed with Susan. He was absolutely obsessed, and he wanted to talk about it. To me, this was the headline. And it also put a target on Stephen's back. And maybe he had something to do with this. The focus was less on Josh, and it shifted straight to Josh's father because it was so creepy. That was my big takeaway.
Police raided the home of her husband and father-in-law, seizing several computers and sealed boxes after those disturbing allegations made by both of them right here on GMA yesterday.
Susan Powell disappeared from her home near Salt Lake City on December 6, 2009. Since then, no word, nothing.
The Powells, they had this entire campaign of their own, and it was to make Susan look bad. It was to make her look like she was promiscuous, like she was looking to leave the marriage and abandon her children.
Susan Cox kept a diary, a secret diary.
Let's stay focused on the journals, okay? Because I think that's very interesting.
I believe that Susan had a liaison with somebody who disappeared the same week she did. She was very open sexually, and when I read her journals, it's clear that most of the relationships she got into with males were ones that she initiated.
Basically, Josh and Stephen, on their own stupidity, were telling, hey, this is, you know, the Holy Grail. This is telling us where Susan is. This is telling us how Susan acted. So that gave us the nexus through the judicial system to get into the house.
When Josh moved in with his father shortly after his wife's disappearance, he took some things from his Utah home, including Susan's journals.
Susan Powell's diaries have taken center stage. According to the search warrant left at the Powell's home, police came looking for 7 very specific diaries, all written by Susan. Diaries that her husband insists will help explain her disappearance.
They went through everything in the house, including all of Steve's, files, journals, computers.
They also find Steve Powell's collection of voyeur videos. Steve Powell is doing things like sliding mirrors under the bathroom door, attempting to get images of Susan while she's undressed.
I love putting her underwear against my face, just smelling her scent.
Steve would narrate his videos to himself as he's shooting video of her dirty underwear.
Stephen Powell would save things of Susan that she'd throw away in a bathroom garbage. Things like cotton swabs, wax strips, tampons. He would mark each one of them, like for specific storage.
In his walk-in closet, there was a filing cabinet that was locked, and once we got into that, that was kind of like the unwanted treasure that we found.
Police say inside Powell's bedroom, they found thousands of images of mostly young girls, many naked, being videotaped without their knowledge. Prosecutors say 2 former neighbors, sisters just 7 and 12, were repeatedly videotaped while bathing. Police said Powell shot from his bedroom window into the neighbor's bathroom window using a telephoto lens.
They've looked at Steve Powell, the suspect in Susan's disappearance, and ruled him out, but it's obviously of great concern to detectives as they're scouring through all the material they take out of Steve Powell's home when they see underage neighbor girls undressed on Steve Powell's tapes.
Powell entered a plea of not guilty to 14 counts of voyeurism and 1 count of child pornography.
Stephen Powell was eventually convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison for possession of child pornography.
Because of all the things that the police encountered in the search of the Stephen Powell home, it became apparent eventually these boys were at imminent risk of harm.
The best part that came out of the search warrant with Steve's house was Child Family Services of Washington stepped in and shared with us that they would take custody of the children.
The boys, ages 4 and 6, were taken last night by the state, and now Susan's father is fighting to keep them with him.
They were going to be placed, relative placement with us, so we were essentially foster parents. Josh didn't want them with us.
My sons are safe with me. They're safe in my home. They're safe with my family.
I think Josh's main fear probably was that once Charlie started talking to their grandparents, the story would get out.
They were saying things like, our mommy went with us on the trip but didn't come back. We can only see our mom again if we go camping again.
Braden drew the picture of a minivan with stick people inside, and who's this? Oh, that's me. Who's that? That's Charlie. Who's that? That's Daddy. And he said, and he volunteered, Mommy's in the trunk.
We wanted to interview them.
Will you sit right there?
So I wrote the search warrant for that.
Charlie, has anybody talked to you about your mom? No?
I not know where she is. She got lost in somewhere.
During that interview, it's very clear that Charlie has been coached. His answers are extremely evasive.
We can't talk about Susan or camping. I always keep things as secrets.
The only thing we got out of that time was that at one point he said that she went camping, but she didn't come home with them. And then he kind of clammed up after that.
I didn't want to talk to you on this long. I mean it on this many minutes. Now I'm done.
While the Coxes were fighting for custody of the kids and had temporary custody of the boys, they were still essentially wards of the state. Washington State had control over these children, and the Coxes were glorified foster care. So the boys are living with Grandma and Grandpa, and Josh is getting supervised visitation with the boys.
The visitation is at first understood to be taking place at a secure third-party facility, but in short order, Josh takes steps to rent his own house, and he begins pushing the social workers, asking them if they can move visitation to this new house that he's rented, because it's not Steve Powell's house. It shouldn't have the same concerns.
I think the boys were ones that originally told me, hey, we got to go to Daddy's house or something, and I went, oh, really? I was concerned about that.
They were very excited. They were thrilled about the new house, and they were thrilled about the yard at the new house.
I am in their best interest as their father, that I should be raising them.
Through December into early January, he was confident that his reunification motion was going to be granted.
Who has custody of your kids?
Well, that was doomsday for Josh Powell.
This is a story you can't write in a Hollywood script. No one would have thought in a million years that's how this story would have ended.
Josh, is there anything you'd care to say on your way in?
When Josh was fighting for custody of Charlie and Braden, it wasn't about being a father. It was about beating the Coxes.
The kids seemed like typical kids to a certain extent, but they were undergoing a lot of stress.
I think Josh went into that hearing on February 1st thinking he was going to get his kids back.
I was pretty positive that Josh was the one that killed Susan. I wanted to keep those boys out of that home as long as possible. I was going to West Valley going, hey, guys, we need something.
Pierce County authorities and investigators in Utah shared the common goal of protecting the boys. So the West Valley Police in Utah passed along previously unreleased evidence recovered from the Powell's home.
When I pushed West Valley and they sent us the disc with the cartoon, incestuous images.
The West Valley City Police Department in Utah had found images on a computer taken out of the house in Sarah Circle way back in December of 2009 that were of great concern. They were characters from popular Nickelodeon shows engaged in sexual acts of incest.
The evidence was allegedly taken from Josh Powell's Utah home by investigators.
They raised very serious questions about Josh's ability to be a safe parent for the boys.
He denies ever looking at any kiddie porn. He denies any knowledge about any of these images that had purportedly been taken off of his computers. Illegal images? No. I asked Mr. Long, he saw nothing on there that he believed would be in violation of the law. Bad taste? I'll give you that from what he was describing to me.
And that's when the judge ruled that the boys would stay with the Coxes longer.
The images are enough that Judge Catherine Nelson is ordering Josh Powell to now undergo a psychosexual evaluation.
This is an exam where they measure aberrant arousal, so you can't lie. Because physically the arousal will show if you're into things that might be illegal.
He had to take psychosexual evaluation, which is one thing that I know he wouldn't pass, but it included a polygraph.
And that means that Josh is going to have to do what he's avoided doing from the very first days after Susan disappeared, which is take a lie detector test.
He'd been able to get away with murder, so to speak, for a long time. But a polygraph, I think he was really afraid of. He didn't want to answer all these questions about Susan and how she went missing.
He truly had gone down in flames from being pretty sure that he was going to get his kids back.
Are you disappointed the kids are going to be coming home with you?
I think the arrow was taken out of him. He looked bad. You just saw his welfare diminish.
He looked more and more like a psychopath. He was running out of places to hide, and he ran out of options, and it was tearing him down as a person.
The custody hearing between Chuck and Josh essentially was put on pause. That was on February 1st. We know then that Josh spent the next 4 days preparing.
We know that he transferred some of his finances.
He gathered up some of the boys' things and toys, took them to Salvation Army and Goodwill. He bought 5-gallon gas cans and went and filled them with gas.
I said, look, I am afraid Josh is backed into a corner with the psychosexual and the polygraph. He knows there's no way he's going to beat those.
So the morning of Sunday, February 5th, Chuck had gone to church early.
I knew they were going for their visit, and they were making it clear to my wife and myself, we don't want to see him today. No, we don't want to go.
I picked up the boys. They were waiting with their grandmother, and I expected to return the boys in about 4.5 hours.
And things just go very wrong.
The Pierce County Sheriff believes what has happened is nothing short of pure evil.
This is a story you can't write in a Hollywood script. No one would have thought in a million years that's how this story would have ended. When you talk about a tragedy, this is it.
For the morning of Sunday, February 5th, Elizabeth Griffin Hall arrived at the rental house, parked out front, and as children do, Charlie and Braden got out of their car seats.
They rushed to the front door, which is what they always did. I was 1 or 2 steps in back of them. The kids just rushed in. I saw Josh for just 1 second. His eyes caught mine, and he had a look in his eyes.
She looks him straight in the face. He slams the door in her face and locks it.
I knocked and I knocked and I rang the doorbell and I started yelling at Josh, let me in. And I heard him say, Charlie, I've got a big surprise for you.
And immediately she smelled gasoline, and she knew it was an emergency situation.
I'm on a supervised visitation for a court-ordered visit, and something really weird has happened. I think I need help right away. He looked right at me and closed the door.
All right, we'll have somebody look for you there.
Okay, how long will it be?
I don't know, ma'am. They have to respond to emergency, life-threatening situations first. The first available deputy.
Well, this could be life-threatening. He went to court on Wednesday, and he didn't get his kids back. And this is really, I'm afraid for their lives.
Okay, has he threatened the lives of the children previously?
I have no idea.
All right, we'll have the first available deputy contact you.
February 5th, 2012, Super Bowl Sunday.
I went to church. I came home, Super Bowl Sunday.
I remember watching the Super Bowl that day and seeing the reports come in.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm John DeCepolo. We are interrupting your programming for some breaking news.
And I got a call from my neighbor, and he said, change the channel.
I was actually in Indianapolis. The Patriots were playing the Giants at the Super Bowl.
Patriots lead the Giants 10-9 at halftime.
And I was there with my family. And it was halftime, and Madonna was about to take center stage.
As Madonna takes the stage to perform Vogue, Abby's in the stadium concourse, trying to absorb the text she just received.
I get a text, pops up on my phone.
There has been a fatal explosion at the home of Josh Powell.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I'm going to get help from the neighbors. They'll be able to help me get the boys out. So I went screaming to the neighbors and said, there's 2 children in there. There's 2 children in there.
I said, oh my God. And I thought like natural gas or something. And they said they found 3 bodies.
There's a fire, the house exploded, and we're hearing that Josh and Charlie and Braden were inside.
This can't be, this can't be.
And I thought, no, that can't be real. I would have heard something.
And I called Susan's father. I said, Chuck, is it true?
Chuck, is it true? Is it true? He said, yes. And I didn't even say goodbye. I just hung up the phone and started crying.
And I was looking at a house with steam still coming out of it and fires, and he went and talked to his sergeant or whatever. He said, yeah, they're there, and they're dead.
Honestly, I wasn't surprised. And the actions that he made after she went missing, I never underestimated him.
And then to find out the details, it just breaks your heart.
The Pierce County medical examiner says both boys had chopping wounds on their heads and necks, but that's not what killed them. The cause of death for all three was carbon monoxide poisoning.
We believe he bought 2 5-gallons worth of gas, and one was used in the room where the boys were killed, where we found the hatchet, the boys, and one of the gas cans.
And then after he had incapacitated them, he arranged them on the floor next to each other and poured gasoline on and around them and around the house. And then he sat on a gas can and lit a match. And they were still alive when the fire started, and they died of smoke inhalation. And there was also gasoline in their lungs.
Police say there's clear evidence Josh planned out this house explosion and meant to kill himself and his children.
The morning of the 5th, he sent a couple of text messages and voicemails to people, essentially saying goodbye. His sister Alina found one when it was too late to intervene after the explosion.
What did he say? I think he said, "Hello, this is Josh."
I am not able to live without my son, and I'm not able to go on anymore. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt. Goodbye.
When you heard the audio recording, what did you think? What did you make of that?
I thought he had lost all hope. To find out that, he used the axe first, and to find out that he said to them, I have a surprise for you. Any little bit of doubt that anyone could have possibly had that Josh killed Susan had to have gone out the window. The fact that he could have done that to his kids.
This wasn't tragic. This was deeply wrong. This was evil. You do not kill little kids.
Police are convinced the explosion and fire that destroyed Josh Powell's home is a murder-suicide.
I don't know anything else I could have done. And they're still dead. My daughter's still missing, and now the children are dead. I had them safe. They were in my care. They were gone.
I was frustrated with the Child Protective Service Agency. Why would they put this single woman in charge of these boys and send her into the lion's den?
They had the right to grow up.
The Cox family is determined to hold the state accountable and make them pay for the deaths of their grandchildren.
You'll cut that out of the tape, right?
Hey, Braden. Hold still.
That's the saddest part, is you look at photos of Josh and Susan, Charlie and Braden, and you think about what could have been. Those boys deserve to grow up, and they never got the chance.
We've been robbed of 3 precious lives, and it's just unthinkable that the same person did it.
Why take the kids? Why? It makes absolutely no sense.
My worst nightmare had just happened. But I went from praying that somehow Susan was alive to praying now that she was dead so that she could greet her boys in heaven.
Outside the fenced-off crime scene, strangers visit the memorial that has risen. Flowers, balloons, and stuffed animals offered in memory of Charlie and Braden Powell.
Why would he go through so much to get custody of the boys, only to murder them?
Come here, Charlie.
Here we go, Charlie. Hey, buddy.
Well, one of the possibilities is he destroyed the evidence. Those boys were starting to talk. And by destroying the evidence, basically he committed murder on his 2 boys.
It shows how much of a monster he really was. And it shows how many people dropped the ball in this case.
I was frustrated with the Child Protective Service Agency. Why would they put this single woman in charge of these boys and send her into the lion's den? It made no sense to me.
I wanted to get the kids no matter what. I wanted to get the kids. If I could have gotten through the door, I would have.
She did what she could. She did everything right. There's no blame on her at all. Anybody puts any blame on her, it's misdirected.
The Coxes have filed a lawsuit against the state of Washington on behalf of Braden and Charlie. It's a wrongful death lawsuit, and their position is that the state of Washington put Josh's parental rights before the welfare of these boys.
The Cox family lawsuit didn't include Elizabeth Griffin Hall or any other individuals as defendants.
The fact is, she was not the one that made the decision for this to be in the home. So to a certain extent, she's lucky she's alive. And she's, I think, a victim in a lot of ways, too.
They filed this lawsuit, $35 million for Braden, $50 million for Charlie. $5 million for each minute that these boys suffered at the hands of their father before they were ultimately blown up in Josh's rental house.
Please be seated. Good morning, everybody.
You have a civil case against the state that started in February, was disrupted because of COVID-19.
Please now give your attention to Mr. Buck as he presents the plaintiff's final argument.
It is out of the state's failure to live up to their own primary directive of assuring the safety of the children that this tragedy was born. What was the place that had the least protection? Josh Powell's home. What about the level of risk? Then the state learned of the boy's statements. It learned of this incest images. It learned that he was going to have to undergo a psychosexual evaluation, a polygraph. If the state had followed its policies, its guidelines, common sense, investigated, had visitations where it was supposed to have them, none of this would have happened. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this will be the only and final time that you hear from the state in this matter. The state took this very serious. They did their job. They followed their policies. Yes, the fact that Susan Powell was missing was known, but after more than 2 years after her disappearance, still no arrest, no charges against Josh Powell. It actually takes facts and proof to remove a child from their parent, to keep them out of the home. The guides on visitation shows the #1 preferred location is at a parent's home. That's why transition to a home occurs. The goal in these type of cases is always family reunification. I'm going to submit to you that Mr. Powell is the sole cause of the murder of his sons. It was not due to any negligence by the state of Washington. It was Mr. Powell who did this.
The truth of the fact of the matter is, they're the only ones who could have protected the children at that point. They're the ones with responsibility.
Has the jury reached a verdict, ma'am?
All please rise.
Please be seated.
Court is reconvened.
Has the jury reached a verdict, ma'am?
If it pleases the court, we have.
Was the state of Washington negligent? Answer, yes. What do you find plaintiff Charles Powell's total amount of damages? $57,500,000. Braden Powell's total amount of damages, $57,500,000.
For 8 years, the Cox family has been trying to find justice. And it took us a long time. And we took a long hiatus with the pandemic. Today, justice has been meted out.
What I intend to do is use the award to try and help other people in that so that we can save more children.
Jury members told ABC News they didn't believe any one individual at Child Protective Services was responsible for what happened. They blame a systematic failure for the tragedy.
It just came down to this. You cannot have reunification, as your goal at the expense of child safety. And, lawsuits change things. Brown versus Board of Education, Roe v. Wade. I mean, that's how things change.
So 2020 reached out to several agencies in both states, and they declined to comment or refer us to other departments. In the end, we were unable to get an answer to our questions. Could the actions of these agencies, or their inactions, have contributed to the murders of Braden and Charlie Powell?
My heart absolutely breaks for Chuck and Judy Cox. Think about what this couple has gone through. They lost their daughter. Both of their grandbabies were horrifically butchered. And the only 3 people that could shed any light on this are dead.
It should have never have got to the point where you had Josh getting his kids into that house and blowing it up.
Josh's actions are definitely an admission of guilt. She's gonna divorce him. If he can't have her, nobody will. So he kidnaps Susan and most likely murders her and disposes of her body. Where? Nobody knows.
I know there are 10,000 abandoned mines in Utah. That's a lot of places where you can dump a body.
We do begin tonight with the search happening hundreds of feet down, deep inside of a mine in Utah's West Desert. The search for Susan Powell's body continues.
Emily, what happened to Susan Powell is still unknown, and her family never got closure. But now a crew is searching a mine shaft in the West Desert.
Dave and I, since we were kids, we've been out exploring this sort of stuff since a long time ago. Our dad was one of these desert rats that just fell in love with the wide open spaces, the ghost towns. It's not surprising that we end up 30, plus years later out there doing it all over again.
Our business specializes in doing things that other people can't or won't do. But every once in a while, we get a really cool opportunity to, get involved in a missing person case, like this one with Susan Powell. I was very fascinated with the idea of maybe helping find Susan. I've kind of just been following along ever since, and then we got a tip that there's a chance she's out here. The majority of our search, rescue, and recovery operations are all pro bono. We are not part of law enforcement. As a private entity and a volunteer search group, we can kind of just move faster. Early on in the excavation, roughly at about the 75-foot level, did just find a bone, looks like a rib. We were more motivated to keep getting down in there and removing more and more material. Every bucket load that we pulled out after that, we'd find a piece of vertebrae or a piece of rib. And that's when we started to get to some really exciting stuff, which was where we found, a pair of pants. First phone call with Susan's dad was like, okay, this is my guy. He drove through the night all the way down from Washington to be on site with us.
The likelihood is pretty low that we're going to find something. But on the other hand, she's still out there somewhere.
And Chuck kind of came over to me quietly, and he's like, hey, I know how to operate a radio. Do you need help down there? And I said, Chuck, do you really want to go down in this hole? And he said, absolutely. He went from a father who was looking for the body of his daughter to part of the search team. We're still at the point where it's like, are the bones animal or they're human? And so we're excited to get the DNA tests back.
It's a blessing, and I'm just so thankful that they're doing it, and I'm just grateful that people are still looking for Susan.
And we should point out tonight that the judge presiding over the Cox civil case has now cut their original award from $98 million to approximately $32 million, $16 million for each of the deceased boys.
And the Cox family has appealed the court's decision, as well as the fact that Washington State has been granted a new trial. That's our program for tonight. I'm Amy Robach.
And I'm David Muir. From all of us here at ABC News in 2020, good night.
Tonight, Blaze Bernstein, the name in the headlines so many of you will recognize. The massive search triggered by celebrities and social media.
But now the chilling new details. You may not have heard about this missing college student. The all-new 2020 starts right now.
who leaves their house without any of their items at night and doesn't show back up again.
This isn't just anybody. This is an Ivy League college student with his whole life in front of him.
Did he run away? Was he injured? Had he been abducted?
Blaze Bernstein disappeared 1 week ago.
Missing while home for winter break.
My dad was just like, we have each other. It's going to be okay.
And there was an immediate firestorm of attention to this case.
Charlie Puth, who put it out there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
This is the period in which begins your amateur
This is where we're trying to figure out
You
what's
become a
going on.
sleuth.
We would not have been able to figure it out without the help of kids his age.
I remember showing the police, like, look what I have.
And that's when the whole evening changed.
Blaze Bernstein's phone at that point in time turned off, and I had no more records.
So they've been together, and
Correct.
suddenly Blaze goes dark.
I heard voices raised in the distance somewhere, screaming like.
Blaze's best friend received a text message. I did something really horrible for the story. No one can ever know.
So if you're dealing with a situation like this, you don't want the person who you're hunting to know that you're onto them.
Just help us find my brother.
Well, the search ramping up today for a Lake Forest teen who disappeared while visiting his family over the holidays.
Blaze Bernstein has been missing since Tuesday night.
Police searching by ground with canines and by air with helicopters.
We're hoping that he's just incapacitated in need of some medical assistance.
Anyone with information should contact the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Blaze Bernstein.
Blaze Bernstein.
Blaze Bernstein.
What are your favorite pictures here?
The kids like to goof off a lot, and he would dress up. They loved to dress up. They loved to do puppet shows, and this is him in a school play when he was little. And we spent a lot of time at Disneyland, because it's right here in our backyard.
Oh, yeah.
That's us sitting there. It was a great day.
Memories of much happier times for parents. Gideon and Jeannie Bernstein married in 1992. They moved from Los Angeles to Orange County to raise a family. They have 3 kids. The youngest is daughter Bowie, Jay in the middle, and Blaze, the oldest.
We had a lot of fun raising the kids together. It was fun. And no one can take that away from us, so we still own that.
Blaze Bernstein grew up here in the city of Lake Forest. It's an upper middle class bedroom community about an hour south of Los Angeles, home to about 90,000 people.
Growing up in Lake Forest was really nice. It was kind of inland from the coast, like 30-minute drive from the beach.
It was actually a really quiet residential area. Houses were beautiful, a lot of families there.
When we wanted to start a family, we left Los Angeles with the idea that we'd be moving to a safe suburbia, one of the safest places in the country.
And by all accounts, Blaze is this bright, gifted teenager with a sharp wit and a warm heart.
I've known Blaze since we were babies. Blaze as a kid, besides being very high energy, he was really creative, he was very thoughtful.
Blaze was incredibly bright, curious. He was really a Renaissance young man. I mean, he was interested in everything.
Surrounded by family and friends, Blaze was bar mitzvahed in 2011. That's a Jewish celebration of adulthood on a boy's 13th birthday. It was an occasion especially meaningful to his grandmother.
I did know that his grandmother was from Romania and survived the Holocaust.
I really think that Blaze got it. He was proud to be a Jew, humanistic philosophy, caring about the world and understanding the world's only going to change if human beings change it.
But even though Blaze possessed that understanding, it offered no protection from becoming a target of frequent bullying.
Growing up in Lake Forest was not super easy for him. He was bullied every single day on the bus. He just wanted to get out of the public school system.
And it wasn't just the bullying. Even though Blaze is a good student, he longs for something more.
Go, man, go.
Something that challenged him, not just intellectually, but creatively. And he would find it at OSHA.
OSHA is the Orange County School of the Arts. It is a 7th through 12th charter art school.
In order to get into that school, you have to audition, and about 1 in 10 students who audition actually get into this school. So it's very competitive.
Blaze auditioned for OSHA. He was artistic in every single way possible. He was very creative.
His talents going in were performing arts and writing, and he wanted to move into the creative writing department.
We've had students who wound up professional actors, designers, you know, the writers, the whole thing, musicians.
Among the more famous OSHA alumni are actors Pedro Pascal, class of 1993, who starred in the HBO hit The Last of Us, and Matthew Morrison, a 1997 graduate and star in Fox's popular TV series, Glee.
And I want you to listen very closely to the lyrics because I really mean what I'm singing.
Once Blaze got to OSHA, he felt like there was a community there for him. He had a lot of friends. He was very social.
I met Blaze when he was a senior in high school. He shared some of his writing with me, and I wrote a letter of advocacy for his application when he applied early decision to Penn because he was a brilliant writer.
Blaze's exceptional talents got him into the University of Pennsylvania, and he moved across the country to Philadelphia as a pre-med freshman in the class of 2020.
Was he homesick at the start?
I think that the first semester at school was difficult for him in terms of the social life there. He was used to being in a small school. You know, now he's a little fish in a big sea, and I think that he had to come to grips with that.
When I found out that he was going to an Ivy League, I was like, oh, you know, that makes sense.
At Penn, Blaze got involved in Pen Appetit.
Pen Appetit is a student-run magazine for people who are interested in writing and also interested in food.
He knew that those would be his people.
Our photographer for Pen Appetit, he held a photo shoot where we dressed up in our chef's whites and aprons. We brought whisks and knives. We have photos of him, you know, holding the whisk, being surprised. I mean, he was so helpful, and we're so fortunate to have these photos of him.
It was a Tuesday in January. A 19-year-old Blaze was home for winter break. He was in a really good place and looking forward to second semester of his sophomore year, but not before he treated his family to a special meal.
He was baking butternut squash with, you know, sprigs of thyme that were inside them.
He made a turkey.
And he made a...
He took over my job, more or less. I was on vacation, and he was here.
So dinner broke up, I guess, absolutely normally.
It was a quiet night. Didn't hear anything unusual. I woke up the next day and it was a normal morning.
A normal day until it wasn't.
I got up and Blaze's door was closed, and the housekeeper said, "Oh, don't wake him, let him sleep in." And I said, okay. Well, I knew I had a dental appointment with him that day, so I decided I'd wait until my yoga class was over to try to contact him so I wouldn't wake him. And I tried getting hold of him, and he wasn't picking up, he wasn't returning my texts. But I went to the dental appointment thinking he would show up, and I immediately called Gideon, and I said he never showed up for his appointment. And he said, well, are you sure he slept at the house last night? And that's when
when we both kind of freaked out.
I yelled, oh my God.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was last seen Tuesday night.
We're hoping to find him and bring him home safely.
My dad called me and was like, hey, like, have you heard anything from Blaze? He's not picking up the phone. It's really weird. Like, just let us know if you hear anything. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
I was at work, so I basically run out of my office and jump in the car and drive home as quickly as I can. And just go run upstairs, and his glasses are there, his wallet's there, his keys are there.
Panicked and confused, the Bernsteins were calling everyone they could think of to see whether anyone had seen or heard from Blaze in the last 12 hours.
And what were they saying?
They didn't know anything.
Nobody knew, you know, where his location was.
Well, I found out that Blaze was missing, and it was just really shocking to me because I was like, there was no way that he could have like run away. He wasn't that kind of person.
So this is the period in which begins your amateur
This is when we're trying to
investigation.
figure out
You
what's
become a
going on.
sleuth.
Well, we had no idea what was going on.
He hadn't slept in the bed.
And, you know, his bags for going back to school were already packed.
You think, well, hanging out with some kids, you know, other teenagers, and forgot to call home. You have to believe that's a defense against the most awful.
When it became dark outside, I think that's when we started to really be super concerned.
One of the first things the Bernsteins thought of is using the Find My app, which allows users to share their location with others.
So did you have like a follow my friend on the iPhone?
Yes, we did. We had that, and I saw that the location services were turned off.
So we called the sheriff's department.
They came and they were really downplaying it, like, oh, you know, 19-year-olds, they run away sometimes, but they'll be back.
He was adamant that 100% of the time that these kids are out on a booty call or doing
of the
something
time.
with,
I mean,
he
of course,
told me.
we explained that there were some, you know, unique circumstances with regards to, you know, his personal belongings still being here. And so they offered to do a missing persons report.
So a kid disappears without his glasses, his wallet, or his keys. There are people who actually told me about it just in the couple of days after he went missing, who suggested that maybe this was suicide. Did you ever contemplate that?
Never.
Not even close. He was so happy. He was in a great place.
He was in one of the best places I had ever seen him before. That week, he was so happy. He was so excited to go back to school. He was so excited to like just have the rest of his life. And so at that point, there was no doubt in my mind, like he would never have done that.
Gideon and Jeannie confirmed with Verizon that Blaze hadn't made any recent phone calls. A quick check of his computer revealed no exchanges on iMessage or Facebook DMs. And so with virtually no solid information to go on, the Bernsteins, along with help from their 14-year-old daughter, Bowie, began dipping deeper into Blaze's social media.
We would not have been able to figure it out without the help of kids his age
like
that he grew up with. and our daughter, yes.
I told my parents, I'm like, I can try and help you like find everything that like you need. I'm really good with Snapchat. I knew the names of a lot of his friends, so I was able to like text them and ask them if they knew what was going on.
And that's when the whole evening changed.
Yeah.
When they said, well, what about Snapchat? That's when the light bulb went on. I mean, we were exhausted, but I said, okay, let's try and figure out how to get in.
Snapchat is a free mobile messaging application used to share photos, videos, texts. But what's different about the app is that whatever is shared, including text messages, disappears from the recipient's screen after just a few seconds.
We were lucky because we knew his username because he was connected with our daughter. And the password ended up being one of the ones that we had on our iCloud keychain. So we typed the username, and then we tried that password in, and boom, we're in.
Still, getting into Blaze's Snapchat account was only half the battle. Yes, it might contain a critical record of who Blaze may have been in contact with the night he disappeared, but as the Bernsteins discovered, simply viewing the message might also trigger it to vanish.
At the time, Snapchat worked. If you sent a message, it could only be saved if you purposefully saved it, and it could be deleted by the person who sent it, and it only lasts 24 hours if you don't save it.
And there were so many other pitfalls with this. I mean, if you take a screenshot of these communications because you think you're saving them, well, that alerts the person that sent it to you.
The sender gets an alert.
So if you're dealing with a situation like this, you don't want the person who you're hunting to know that you're onto them.
What you're describing is basically dealing with this digital nitroglycerin that at any moment
Yes, absolutely.
could just blow up in your faces. And this is the most important thing in your lives right now.
I had my daughter next to me, and I said, okay, I need you to save, because I know there's a way that you can save it, but I didn't really know how.
What time is it by now?
I don't know, it's like close to 10 o'clock at night, like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we saw that Blaze gave our address out to somebody.
Did you know who?
We didn't know at the time who it was. We saw the name.
I had absolutely no idea who he was. I was so happy that there was somebody who we could talk to that could just help us find my brother.
Bernsteins didn't know the person Blaze sent his address to, but in the hours ahead, the discovery of that person's identity would turn the desperate search for their son upside down.
Hi, this is Blaze's dad. We really need to know what you know. We can't find him.
This is becoming an urgent issue with trying to figure out what really happened to him, and we're going to really need your help on this because you're the last person that probably saw him.
That was not the person that I really expected him to be with.
Who leaves their house without any of their items, at night and doesn't show back up again?
This isn't just anybody. This
Right.
is an Ivy League college student with his whole life in front of him.
Right.
A beautiful life waiting for him.
Hours had passed since anyone had heard or seen Blaze. Did he run away? Was he injured? Had he been abducted? There was no sign of him anywhere. Now, as darkness fell, there was finally a glimmer of hope.
We wanted to make sure that if there was any chance that Blaze was still alive, that we took it. I wanted to ensure that not 1 second was wasted.
And the Bernsteins discovered something else. It was a final text message sent to Blaze at 3 p.m. from his best friend. Hey, I'm really worried about you. Please text me. There was no reply. The Bernsteins frantically reached out to that best friend, who told them Blaze did exchange messages with someone else overnight. Now it seemed that person was their best hope of finding Blaze.
We don't know what the conversations were that led up to his disappearance, so we want that information.
Gideon Bernstein, through his own investigation, found out that there was communication on the Snapchat application. And so he was able to message through direct messaging Sam Woodward.
We didn't know who he was. I was like, we should call him. Like, he definitely knows what's going on. And so I encouraged my dad to call him, and we recorded a call.
We haven't heard from him all day. He missed an appointment today, and then we started getting concerned, and I've been trying to figure things out. So you're the first real clue to the puzzle here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm sorry.
I don't know if my dad told me to record it or if I just had the thought that maybe having any sort of evidence that we could hold on to would be able to help us.
I don't mean to put any pressure on you. I know you're a nice young man, but I'm asking you for help on this if you can, if you've got the ability to do that.
Absolutely. This is, I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
During that call, Sam Woodward told Gideon that Blaze suggested they drive to a nearby park to meet yet another one of his friends, but never mentioned that friend by name.
And he said he invited a third friend to come along. So I said, okay.
I didn't want to speak because I didn't want to get involved, but I was listening and to my dad, just ask him questions and go back and forth.
And then did he get out of the car or what happened?
Yeah, he got out of the car, and I got out of the car too, and I just asked him, who is this guy? And he's just like, you'll find out in a little bit, he's a friend of mine. And then, so I'm just like, okay, Blaze, and I just waited there by the bathroom, and I didn't see where he went.
I was just thinking to myself, this is maybe weirdest, situation that we could be in at this moment. And I remember that phone call went on for a while, too.
I guess I realized, did something happen to him? So I went back. I searched all over for him where I was at the library. I couldn't find him anywhere. And I guess I just figured he might just call me in the morning or just pranking me, but now I'm scared now.
It's a disturbing phone conversation, which now raises more questions for the Bernsteins than it answers.
We were curious to know who this person was, but then We did find out he was a student at OSHA.
20-year-old Sam Woodward and Blaze were former high school classmates at OSHA.
I have known Sam since he was born, kind of grew up alongside of him. I remember excitement, during Sam telling me that he was going to OSHA.
Woodward grew up only 30 minutes away in the wealthy coastal town of Newport Beach.
Sam was joyful. He was a really happy, special kid.
He lived in this house with his parents and a brother who, by all accounts, were devout Catholics and attended church regularly.
Everything we did, all the families we spent time with, were from our church.
I did teach Sam Woodward in acting for the camera in his 10th grade, and I had him for the one semester.
For 10 years, Phil Schwadron taught drama and directing for grades 9 through 11 at OSHA.
He was definitely serious. He didn't crack jokes, didn't laugh a lot, as to my memory.
Sam went to OSHA with me from 7th grade to 10th grade. I would say that he did not necessarily fit into the general OSHA artsy vibe.
We came back for what would have been Sam's 11th grade year, and I said, who have I got this year? And my boss said, yeah, you're going to get them all back except one left the school. Who left the school? Sam Woodward left the school.
I wasn't really surprised that he left. I kind of just thought that he left because he just didn't like it there.
After leaving OSHA, Sam enrolled in Corona Del Mar High School. During that time, he became an Eagle Scout, graduating in 2016. Now, 2 years later, nothing seemed to explain how or why this unlikely pair with seemingly nothing in common ended up together in this park. And now, one safely home, the other nowhere to be found. So now you have this critical piece of information.
Yeah.
Do we immediately call the sheriffs and say,
Yes.
we have something?
Yes, we did.
Yep, right away.
And what's their response?
They come over right away.
They came over,
Okay.
and now it was
And
serious.
We just gave him the lead of the last person we knew that he had seen.
I remember taking that call and showing the police, like, look what I have. We talked to somebody who said that they know where my brother is.
When I first saw the missing persons report and I was reading the details, some of those details definitely stuck out. So something told me just deep within me that this was unusual. So my then partner, investigator, Jack Ackerman, and I went to the park, probably right around lunchtime on January 4th.
I had a feeling as a mother, it was my intuition that something very bad had happened.
On January 3rd, 2018, the day Blaze Bernstein's family realized he was missing, Blaze's sister Bowie recorded a phone call between her father and 20-year-old Sam Woodward, a former high school classmate who says he was one of two people with Blaze the night he disappeared.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bernstein, but your guess is as good as mine.
Woodward said Blaze made plans for a third person to meet up with them in a neighborhood park that night.
Blaze didn't tell me anything about this guy except that he was from OSHA like us.
Really appreciate you calling me and sharing that info. And is it okay if I reach back out to you if I need some help?
Absolutely. I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
When they were talking about meeting another person, I was like, what other person? Who else would my brother, like, be with?
So you want a water? I got a water. What kind of monster you want?
The next day, Orange County Sheriff's investigators bring in Sam Woodward to ask some questions of their own.
You can leave at any time. You're not under arrest or anything like that, okay? We're just trying to find Blaze. Find Blaze. That's it.
As investigators get to know Sam Woodward, they learn that he was living with his parents and working odd jobs.
My goals in life are I just want to start a family. I just want to have enough money to support my kids. I just want to have a wife who loves me and get a good job and go to college.
Woodward says he recently reconnected with Blaze on social media.
He said something like, Sam Woodward. Now, that's a face I haven't seen in a while.
I'm looking for eye contact. I'm looking for his general comfortability to try to gain a sense whether somebody I feel is telling me the truth or telling me a lie.
At some point during the conversation on Snapchat, you decided to meet up.
That is correct.
For Blaze's family, the fact that he went out at all that night was a revelation.
We had dinner actually at the dining room table with everybody. He was supposed to fly back to school. So it was going to be the last time my parents were going to see him for quite a while. There was no indication from him that he was going out that night.
During his interview with police, Woodward said that after he picked up Blaze at his house, they drove around for a while, eventually stopping at Borrego Park.
Borrego Park is in the city of Lake Forest. It's a place where you can take your kids. It also has remote hiking trails that stretch for miles.
At some point, somebody exits the car, right?
Mm-hmm. Did he tell you where he was going? He said he was going to meet the friend that he was talking about.
Just like in that call with Blaze's father, Woodward told officers that Blaze was meeting another friend at the park that night. Woodward says he stayed behind as Blaze walked away and disappeared out of sight.
At one point, I heard voices raised in the distance somewhere, but I mean, that happens to my neighborhood all the time. You hear like girls screaming like, ah! And all that. And so I didn't really pay much mind to it.
But I wanted him to feel comfortable talking to me, and he was.
Woodward says he looked for Blaze, but eventually gave up and went home.
I mean, I don't know what happened to him, but something must have.
All that matters is that we find him and we get him back to his family safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially her talking to his parents, because his parents are really nice people.
After several hours of questioning, Sam Woodward left. But police, they remained suspicious, so they decided to put him under surveillance.
I'm trying to record it right now. There was a large team that was deployed into the field, and we followed him anywhere that he went.
And with this growing cause of concern for Blaze Bernstein comes the glare of the media spotlight. The Blaze Bernstein missing persons case is now big news.
The Orange County Sheriff's Department searched the park, but they haven't seen any signs of Blaze.
Blaze was supposed to be in school this morning.
He was supposed to fly back Sunday, go to class today, but instead he's missing.
I remember going with my dog to Borrego Park before and kind of just like walking around to see like, what if I find him here?
Bowie documented that desperate period of time with pictures and videos posted on her Snapchat.
Our congregation went into high gear. We printed flyers with his name and picture and the facts and who to call, and we put them up on bulletin boards and poles all around the city.
At this point, it's now in the hands of the police.
Mm-hmm.
But you continue to work.
Yes.
Now you take to social media.
Round the clock. You know, it looked like war games in this house. We had terminals all over the dining room table, and we were all just working.
There was an immediate firestorm of attention to this case. We were absolutely inundated with tips from the public. There were hundreds within the first week, and then that grew exponentially.
Some of our contacts were friends with some of the celebrities that were willing to post it on their social media. And so we had the missing persons flyer out for Blaze on, Kobe Bryant's Facebook page, and Charlie Puth, who put it out there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So it started to catch a lot of attention.
We were spending every minute talking about it. People were filming in our house, interviewing my parents. Nothing like this ever happened where we were.
Any sign of him, any clothing, obviously him. We're hoping to find him, hoping that he's just incapacitated and in need of some medical assistance so that we can get him and bring him home safely.
There was like this team of people with drones, and they were going throughout Whiting Ranch Wilderness Park, where we were concerned maybe my brother was back there, and maybe there was a mountain lion, or maybe like something happened to him and he was missing or lost.
For the fourth night in a row, the Bernstein family will go to sleep without their oldest son at home.
It was clear as the week wore on that it was more and more dire.
lot of pressure, immense pressure to perform.
Then, on January 9th, with Blaze missing for 7 days now, a discovery which upends the case.
Jack and I were teamed up. Jack said, "Dylan."
You heard it in his voice.
I could hear it in his voice.
We're going to turn now to those new developments in the mysterious disappearance of an Ivy League student.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein missing while home for winter break.
The Sheriff's Department launched an extensive search with help from the community.
Days had passed since Blaze vanished into the night. The relentless search by police and volunteers had turned up nothing. Just more anguish for the Bernsteins and frustration for authorities.
The Orange County Sheriff's Department searched the park, but they haven't seen any signs of Blaze.
We utilized cadaver dogs. We utilized drones. We had been to Borrego Park and searched that park over and over again with a fine-tooth comb.
On January 9th, a week after Blaze went missing, investigators decided to go back to Borrego Park one more time after obtaining cell phone data showing Blaze and Sam Woodward were there together.
And this is a week after Blaze went missing.
Yeah, it led us to this particular area when all of a sudden Blaze Bernstein's phone at that point in time turned off.
So they'd been together, and suddenly Blaze goes dark.
Blaze goes dark, and then Sam Woodward's phone continues. There was a torrential downpour. It was cold, it was raining, everything was wet, everything was muddy. We searched all this area until my partner Jack and I came to this area right here.
I saw a spot that looked unusual. So I walked down. There was a large tree branch covering an area that looked a little odd, like the rain had kind of settled some dirt around something. I moved the tree branch, and you could see the left hip and upper left leg area of a human body.
And you knew?
Knew.
Had to be him.
Instantly. In my gut, without even seeing the face. And I knew that it was Blaze Bernstein.
They must have found his cell phone as well.
We located a broken cell phone about probably 6 inches, 8 inches below where the body was found.
I was sitting in my English class in 8th grade, and the teacher got a call, and he was like, "Bowie, you're gonna go to the office, they need you for something." And I was like, "Oh, good, maybe some good news." And they took me into this room, and I saw my godmother. She was crying, and I looked at her, and she just hugged me, and she said, "They found him, he is dead. Blaze is gone."
To the index in the body of a college student found in Lake Forest, California. Blaze Bernstein had disappeared 1 week ago. The case now a homicide.
That was the end of hope for me.
We started off this journey over a week ago, looking for our son and asking for everyone to help us find Blaze Bernstein. And we just have learned that they have positively identified our son Blaze's body today.
I just felt so numb, like nothing that had happened in my life had mattered anymore. And then when I got home, my dad was just like, he was just defeated, but he just said, like, "It's gonna be okay. Like, we have each other, it's gonna be okay." Sorry.
The specific details of what occurred at Borrego Park are part of the ongoing investigation.
The autopsy revealed injuries which I believe were a result of an extremely violent encounter Blaze was stabbed 14 times in the left side of his neck, 5 times on the right side of his neck. He was stabbed, in the knee. He had defensive wounds all over his fingers. He was fighting for his life, and probably a surprise attack.
You hear about that many stab wounds. What does it tell you about the person or the mindset of the person who did that?
Hate and rage. Intimate. It was an intimate killing.
It was devastating news for the family and for the community.
My reaction when I heard it was fury, anger, disbelief. I haven't felt those feelings in my life.
As the investigation into Blaze's murder began, hundreds gathered for a vigil in his honor.
We lost one of our sons. I hope that we can all join together and support the Bernstein family.
The funeral was incredibly painful. We had to ask for RSVPs because we could only accommodate here in the building about 11 or 1,200 people. And then there was a public service at the largest space we have in Orange County a few weeks after the funeral in the 3,000 seats, and that was full.
I believe most people are good.
Students from Blaze's Performing Arts High School chose to sing Luke Bryan's song, Most People Are Good.
I see a lot of goodness here, and I hope that we can bring more tolerance, more peace, understanding, and love to everything that we do and make a better world for our children. Thank you.
The community wrapped its arms around the Bernstein family. The park near their house where Blaze played as a child and where his body was found turned into a makeshift memorial with messages of love and support from all over the world.
This is a note somebody left us. Dear Lord, please watch over the Bernstein family and give them strength during this time. Please guide our police department to help them find the person or persons who took Blaze away. We still needed answers because we didn't have anybody in custody. In my mind, the hunt was still on.
But for investigators, the hunt would become far more complex because they've discovered that the night of the murder, Blaze's best friend received a text message from Blaze's phone saying, quote, "I did something really horrible for the story, but also no one can ever know," end quote. Blaze's friend responds, "What story?" but gets nothing back.
That was the last text message that was sent from his phone.
The last text message from the phone of a murder victim is always going to be of critical importance to a homicide investigator.
We are 6.5 years since my son was killed.
Blaze is ready. Blaze the trail.
We are all going through our own personal hell right now.
Blaze Bernstein was found with 28 stab wounds.
You hear about that many stab wounds. What does it tell you about the person or the mindset of the person who did that?
A lot of anger somewhere from within, and he took it out on Blaze Bernstein.
Did I introduce him to something that later on came back to haunt us all?
And not only was this just a murder, now we're starting to see a bigger picture.
What do you make of the fact that it's very possible that a neo-Nazi killed Blaze in the United States?
He's the grandson of a Holocaust survivor. This can happen anywhere.
There was almost like a gasp from some people.
Police believe they know who killed Blaze Bernstein.
Were you planning to kill him that night?
I hope that we can all join together and support the Bernstein family.
We're hoping for better results, but yesterday afternoon, sheriff's investigators did find the body of Blaze Bernstein.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was first reported missing by his family on January 3rd, 2018. But after a week-long search, he was found dead in a park near his parents' Orange County, California home.
As this investigation moves from search and rescue to a homicide investigation, we ask for your continued support in providing tips and information to the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
As investigators search for answers about who had killed Blaze and why, his parents Jeannie and Gideon flew east to Philadelphia to begin a grim task: cleaning out Blaze's apartment on the campus of the University of Pennsylvania. The grief-stricken Bernstein family invited us to go with them for this emotional and difficult journey.
This is the apartment building that my son moved into. He's on.
Let's first look at his mail.
5 days before he came home to California.
It's been hard especially for Jeannie, to come here, having to go and, basically clean up your child's life after they're gone.
And the kitchen was meticulous. I mean, he had every appliance and everything. I loved his apartment. It was so beautiful. It was so Blaze.
This is the Whisk sweatshirt that my brother got. He was an editor for the Pen Appetit magazine. We were going through his closet and we found it, and I was like, I'm gonna take that.
We had an opportunity to meet Blaze's friends. We will be here for you forever, and we appreciate your friendship.
I'm delighted that Blaze had them in his life because I know that they all made him very happy.
You would have loved this. He used to wear this all the time.
I know.
Oh, that my dad.
Blaze was someone that you can trust with anything, and I trusted him with my life. It was the parent that Blaze was figuring out himself, whether it be religion or sexuality or experience.
At what point as parents did you realize that Blaze was gay?
I had an idea about it when he was probably early high school. I saw something on a phone or that he didn't want me to see, and it kind of confirmed a suspicion that I had, and I think he knew that I had seen it.
We actually had a conversation while he was back at college, and he was telling us essentially, yeah, I am gay, but I just don't want to talk about it.
Did people at school know? Was he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think his friends knew at school.
Because Blaze was so open about his sexuality with me, I feel like that definitely gave him a better foundation. So if he was to go to his parents and his family and open up about that part of his life, he would have known that we were all there for him.
You noticed that too? Yeah. I took a picture of it. In the mirror.
As a mother of a gay man, I am proud to be that.
Blaze is ready. Blaze the trail.
You feel like, like an artist, that you have spent your lifetime sculpting this amazing piece of artwork, and then it gets destroyed. And so here we are. Our artwork is gone. Hard to accept.
Back home in California, the investigation continued, and the focus remained on Blaze's former high school classmate, Sam Woodward, the person who admitted to driving with him to Borrego Park.
We have interviewed that friend several times. That person is not in custody, and we are not prepared to comment on persons of interest at this time.
When Orange County Sheriff's investigator Dylan Jansen first spoke with Woodward the day after Blaze was reported missing, he says Woodward seemed nervous and told different versions of where at Borrego Park he and Blaze went that night. And Jansen says Woodward had what appeared to be injuries on his hands.
Those cuts in your hands, they look pretty gnarly. I mean, how do you think you got those from the Fight Club?
Sam said he was involved with a fight club. He said that he sustained these cuts to his hands after somebody was clawing at him during one of the fights.
When I swung at him, I kind of fell on my ass.
And I usually try and have my hands to break my fall for me, and so I landed on some rocks.
You know, I've heard of fight clubs, but I didn't believe it. Anytime that Sam Woodward was walking around the station, when he touched the doorknobs, he would cover his hands with the sleeves of his sweatshirt. Is he attempting to cover up fingerprints? Is he attempting to cover up DNA? It was definitely something that stood out.
Nearly a week after that interview with police, when Blaze's body was found, investigators went looking for Sam Woodward once again.
Investigators said that when they searched Woodward's bedroom, there was some damning evidence. They found a knife with blood on the handle and on the tip of the blade. They also found bloodstains on a sleeping bag outside his window and on the driver's side of his car.
The knife that was found in Sam Woodward's room, the areas of the vehicle that had apparent blood in it, the sleeping bag that was found on the side of Sam Woodward's home, they were all tested for DNA, and those results concluded to be the blood from Blaze Bernstein.
With this new evidence, police are now ready to make an arrest.
Under arrest, 20-year-old Samuel Lincoln Woodward suspected of killing Blaze Bernstein.
Police say DNA evidence led them to arrest the 19-year-old's former high school classmate.
I remember thinking to myself, that's the guy that was on the phone.
I want to find Blaze as much as you do.
At the time, I thought, I wonder what my brother was thinking before he died. I wonder if he was in pain, or I wonder if he could have saved himself. I think once Sam was arrested, I knew my brother didn't have a chance.
But something authorities were playing pretty close to the vest was motive. Why would Sam Woodward want to kill Blaze Bernstein? As the days unfolded, investigators would confront a possibility they hadn't even originally contemplated.
Not only was this murder, we're starting to see a bigger picture. It was absolutely shocking.
This morning, the Orange County District Attorney's Office filed one felony count of murder against 20-year-old Newport Beach resident Samuel Woodward.
Before joining ABC News, I spent 26 years as a deputy district attorney in the Orange County DA's office, and for a time, I was one of the prosecutors consulting on this case. Sam Woodward was taken into custody 10 days after Blaze went missing and 3 days after his body was found.
There was the victim's DNA on property that was in the control of the defendant.
Well, I remember that moment well. I was sitting in my room. I think I was watching it on television, and I just thought to myself, it's finally happened. Now what?
With the knowledge of how Blaze was murdered, now an excruciating reality for the Bernsteins, the focus turned to why.
Blaze was stabbed nearly 20 times in the neck. Using a knife to kill is particularly violent because you have to be up so close. That many wounds says this was likely a crime of rage or of passion, more personal than your typical murder. So as a prosecutor, my next question would be, who is Sam Woodward and what was his relationship with Blaze?
I had no clue why Blaze would be meeting with Sam. You know, they were never really friends in school. I just know that everybody else got bad vibes from him.
Woodward grew up in Newport Beach, the wealthy suburb south of LA in Orange County. He was a Cub Scout and Eagle Scout, and as we know, Woodward spent part of his high school years at OSHA, the same elite art school where Blaze had also been a student.
It took me a couple of minutes as I watched the footage. It started to dawn on me, oh my God, that's the Sam I taught. Every kid in my acting for the camera class, it was film work. So I said, everybody pick your favorite movie and bring me a scene or a monologue from that film. And he said, I want to do something from the Army. So I gave him Brad Pitt's speech in Inglourious Bastards.
As a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're going to be doing one thing and one thing only: killing Nazis.
The provocative Quentin Tarantino World War II thriller is about a plan to assassinate Nazi leaders by a band of Jewish soldiers.
It weighs heavily on me. Did I introduce him to something that later on came back to haunt us all?
A.C. Thompson, an investigative reporter for ProPublica, uncovered some disturbing information when digging into Woodward's background.
When I started reporting on Sam Woodward, what really stuck out to me was this. Sam Woodward was a member of the Atomwaffen Division, which was a neo-Nazi terrorist group that aimed to bring down the U.S. government and incite a race war.
Race war now! Atomwaffen posted violent propaganda videos online to spread a message of hate and to help recruit new members.
The Atomwaffen Division was a neo-Nazi group that existed from about 2015 to 2020. They were inspired by Charles Manson. They were also inspired by Tim McVeigh, the Oklahoma City bomber. They weren't interested in protests or marching in the streets. They wanted to kill people.
That organization was hell-bent on destroying America within, taking down the system.
My reporting team and I got access to thousands and thousands of private chat messages that were between members of the Atomwaffen group. Sam Woodward was one of the people in these chats.
Writing in the chats under the alias Saboteur, Woodward spewed anti-Semitic, anti-gay, misogynist hate.
When we executed the search warrants on several electronic devices, including computers and cell phones and laptops, there were thousands of images of white supremacist propaganda and hundreds of images to include the Atomwaffen Division.
But Woodward's interest in Atomwaffen apparently went beyond just talk in a chat room. Also found on Sam Woodward's devices was a picture with James Mason. He's a neo-Nazi whose writings Atomwaffen members describe as a main influence on the group, along with a photo of Woodward in a skull mask giving the Nazi salute.
Now we're starting to see a bigger picture. Not only was this just a murder, there's a high probability that Sam Woodward killed Blaze Bernstein because he was homosexual, possibly because he was Jewish, or a combination of both.
I'm here to announce the Orange County District Attorney's Office will file an amended complaint, a hate crime enhancement accusing Woodward of intentionally committing first-degree murder, due in whole or in part to Blaze's sexual orientation. We will prove that Woodward killed Blaze because Blaze was gay.
What do you make of the fact that it's very possible that a neo-Nazi killed Blaze in the United States?
Yeah, if that's the case, that's going to be the biggest tragedy of this story.
He's the grandson of a Holocaust survivor. This can happen anywhere. You aren't safe from this type of hate.
But something else that's still not adding up, how were Blaze Bernstein and Sam Woodward connected? They were both from Orange County, but Blaze, a young gay Jewish man, and Woodward, a member of a neo-Nazi group, seemed to have nothing else in common. Why were they together that night in the first place? Sam Woodward would have his day in court with a stunning new look and a surprising defense. While Sam Woodward was arrested for killing Blaze Bernstein in January 2018, it would take 6 years for him to face a jury. Woodward was charged with first-degree murder, a hate crime. He pleaded not guilty.
19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was stabbed repeatedly and killed back in 2018, and now, 6 years later, that trial finally begins today.
By the time the trial was starting, I'd already left the DA's office, but I was watching the proceedings closely.
Still, no one seems prepared for the Sam Woodward that has led into Judge Kimberly Menager's courtroom.
There was almost like a gasp from some people, just to kind of that visceral reaction to kind of seeing him. Long, dark, stringy hair, long, dark beard, covering his face. It's hard not to kind of draw mental comparisons to Charles Manson.
Blaze Bernstein was found with 28 stab wounds.
Senior Deputy District Attorney Jennifer Walker's opening statements tell the story of a young man who they say set out to murder 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein in cold blood. That hate crime charge, she explains, that was brought because prosecutors believe the evidence showed Sam Woodward murdered Blaze because he was gay, but not because he was Jewish.
You'll see the cell phone evidence, the defendant's words, the defendant's hate.
But in his opening statements, defense attorney Ken Morrison did something we definitely don't see every day by making a stunning admission.
My client, Sam Woodward, was responsible for that death. The why is the single most important issue you will need to decide.
This is no longer a trial about guilt or innocence. The question now becomes, did Woodward plan the killing because of a hatred of gay people? Was it premeditated? If the jury agrees, that could mean a first-degree murder conviction and most likely a sentence of life without the possibility of parole.
Morrison argues for a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter and an acquittal of the hate crime allegation, which would result in a reduced sentence and a chance for parole.
The evidence will show that Blaze Bernstein's sexual orientation had absolutely nothing to do with the reason he was killed.
Jennifer Walker calls her first witnesses, Blaze Bernstein's parents. Gideon Bernstein now faces down the man who killed his son as he recounts the painful moments when the family first realized that Blaze was missing.
You remember where you were when you got the phone call?
I do remember that, yes.
And why does that stand out in your mind?
Because it was the beginning of hell.
Jennifer Walker then brings an Orange County Sheriff's deputy to the stand to describe what he watched Sam Woodward do on January 5th, 2018, after police decided to put Woodward under surveillance.
What did you observe?
I observed him what appeared to be cleaning his vehicle, the interior and exterior.
He had in his possession what looked like a spray bottle of cleaning product.
Scrubbing the driver's side door.
It was very strange to us. What was he cleaning? Why?
Jennifer Walker then digs into the heart of her hate crime argument, portraying Sam Woodward as somebody who changed from Eagle Scout to neo-Nazi.
He had developed his long-standing beliefs against Jewish people and gay people and started joining groups that espoused the views that he had.
This is where Woodward's involvement in the extremist group Atomwaffen becomes key for the prosecution. Investigators say they found these images on Woodward's personal devices.
The prosecution calls an ex-member to the stand whose voice has been altered and his face obscured at the request of the court. He's also using an alias.
Good morning, Mr. Murphy.
Good morning.
Prosecutors allege that Woodward sought out the group, and once there, the fires of his hatred were further stoked as he attended multiple meetings.
So this summer of 2017, Austin, Texas, tell us what you and Sam Woodward did.
We took propaganda photos. That involved us throwing up Nazi salutes. Put the Atomwaffen logo on the photos, for propaganda purposes.
The prosecution also presents what Woodward himself labels Sam's diary of hate, emails he sent to himself over a 7-month period in 2017.
The prey that the defendant had chosen was gay people. And he kept a diary of his feelings and intentions.
And who did the prosecution allege that he was, quote, hunting? Well, they say that Sam Woodward had been visiting online dating sites to connect with gay men.
Downloaded Grindr so I could send photos of their fellow sodomites getting killed and tell them that they're going to be next. They're terrified, LMAO. This is too much fun. They think they're going to get hate crimed, and it scares the out of them.
And this is how the prosecution claims Sam Woodward targeted Blaze while he was hunting for victims on the dating app Tinder. The two men first connected on the app in June of 2017, 3 years after they'd been classmates at OSHA. And then again, the night Blaze disappeared. The last exchange is allegedly what led to their encounter in Borrego Park.
And then here is where the luring starts. And the defendant says, "Is anyone near you right now? Because I just wanted to say." And Blaze says, "Nope." "No, what? No one is near me." And the defendant says, "I might make an exception for you." And the defendant says, "Look, do you have Snap?" And then we have Blaze snapping his address to the defendant at 10:37 p.m. on January 2nd of 2018.
According to prosecutors, the trap had been set and Blaze stumbled right into it that night when he agreed to meet up with Sam Woodward.
But when it's the defense's turn to present its case, jaws will drop in the courtroom because the star witness will be the defendant himself, Sam Woodward. And the crux of the defense's case, that Sam had a secret and would go to any lengths to hide it, even if he had to kill.
He kept saying something that I can only remember as, "I got you already. I got you, I got you."
Today we're going to another day of court. It's definitely a challenge emotionally and mentally to get up and just have to go and do this.
We are 6.5 years since my son was killed. We are all going through our own personal hell right now. The prosecution rested last week, and we're now listening to defense witnesses.
Sam Woodward's defense attorney, Ken Morrison, is making his case.
Sam did not hate Blaze for any reason.
Remember, the defense has acknowledged that 26-year-old Sam Woodward killed Blaze Bernstein, but they insist it was neither a premeditated murder nor a hate crime.
You will also hear lots of additional evidence that helps to explain why this homicide was committed.
But just as Morrison starts laying out his case, the defense team is dealt a blow. The judge rules that some evidence is inadmissible, including that mysterious last text message sent from Blaze's phone on the night of the murder. "I did something really horrible for the story, but also no one can ever know."
The jury then hears how Sam Woodward was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, which the defense says hindered his ability to make and maintain friendships and contributed to Sam's acute sense of isolation and loneliness.
This helps to explain how starved Sam was for the camaraderie, the brotherhood, and acceptance, and how profoundly vulnerable he was to recruitment into groups like Atomwaffen.
The defense claims Sam Woodward's participation in Atomwaffen wasn't as much about ideology as it was about connecting with others and just having a good time. Morrison calls former Atomwaffen member Tyler Wiesing to the stand.
So would you characterize the camp as very serious in terms of the ideology, goals, training, that sort of thing?
That was the intent and the image. In the reality, it was a bunch of people getting drunk and not taking things seriously.
As for those Tinder messages, well, the prosecution argued that Sam Woodward was online to hunt and terrorize victims. Morrison says that never happened, and he argues that in this case, it was Blaze who pursued Sam.
June 15, 2017, Blaze Bernstein saw Sam's profile on Tinder, and Blaze Bernstein initiated the first contact with Sam Woodward, not the other way around. And then Sam says, "Thing is, you're not too shabby looking yourself, Blaze." Blaze says, "Ah, well, thanks, Sam. That's sweet of you." Emoji. Sam says, "Yeah." You're cute, TBH, to be honest.
According to the defense, Sam Woodward was repressing his own feelings of homosexuality, which could help explain the reason behind, quote, Sam's diary of hate.
He's trying to kind of keep this as like this hidden away part of his life, that these hate diary entries are simply narrative constructs to cover up that part of him should Atomwaffen members get suspicious.
Morrison argues that Sam Woodward was tortured by his sexual identity because of what he claims he heard at home. He calls Woodward's mother, Michelle, to the witness stand.
Ms. Woodward, was it ever communicated to your children that homosexuality is a sin?
Yes,
And who communicated that?
my husband.
The defense calls James Markle to the stand, please.
Family friend James Markle tells the court about an incident he says Michelle recounted to him about Sam's father, Blake.
Was there any particular word that Michelle Woodward told you that she would hear Blake call Sam?
He would say, he would say, gay.
But when called to the stand, Sam Woodward's father, Blake, denies using any homophobic slurs.
Would you make derogatory remarks about homosexual people in Sam's presence?
No. But ultimately, the case would hinge on the testimony of the one person who was there the night Blaze Bernstein was killed, Sam Woodward.
The defense is calling up Samuel Woodward.
For the defense, calling their client to testify is a risky move. It can be viewed as a Hail Mary or as a very shrewd tactic to play on the jury's sympathies.
And Mr. Woodward, can I ask you if you're able to move the hair out of your face a little bit?
Sam Woodward's defense attorney, Ken Morrison, takes Woodward through the story of his life, arriving at a key question.
Sam, was there ever a time in your life that you can recall where you wondered whether you might be gay?
No. No, I can't say really there was, no.
This may have just blown up Ken Morrison's defense, which hinges on the argument that Sam Woodward was struggling with his sexual identity. And that will become hugely important because of what Morrison is about to argue Blaze did that night, which he says provoked the attack.
You will learn that Blaze Bernstein was not killed because of who he was, but because of what he did to Sam Woodward after they met up.
What will Sam Woodward say happened that night?
When you drove to Blaze Bernstein's house to pick him up, Sam, were you planning to kill him that night?
It's day 28 in the trial of Sam Woodward, and defense attorney Ken Morrison is questioning his client about the night that he and Blaze ended up in Borrego Park.
I'm pretty sure I said we should hang out at some point, or rather it'd be cool if you wanted to, and right after that, he said to me that he was actually free this night right now, and at that point, I said, all right, cool.
Sam Woodward testifies that after picking up Blaze near his house, the two men eventually arrived at the park. There, on a bench, Woodward claims the night took a dark turn.
Woodward said he smoked some marijuana, was starting to kind of get drowsy, kind of nod off, feels something, and opens his eyes.
I saw a hand right on my crotch with my pants unbuckled. I looked right up and I saw him, and he had his phone in his hand. He kept saying something that I can only remember as, I got you already. I got you, I got you, I got you, I got you, hypocrite. I heard him maybe use the word outed, in the same sentence. I couldn't exactly remember.
If Sam Woodward is to be believed, Blaze was threatening him, and that's what made Woodward snap.
What, if anything, did you think he was doing with his cell phone?
I thought he might photograph me. I thought he might send text messages. I thought he might be trying to record me.
So at any point in time, did you see Blaze actually appear as though he was texting any messages?
Yes.
Sam Woodward says his fear was that there had been an image or video taken and that his family would learn about it.
I grew up in a home with my mother and my father and my brother. Loved them more than I can almost speak about. My father, though, if he'd heard about something like that got out somehow, I couldn't fathom that.
Sam Woodward then describes how he says things escalated.
I found one of the knives that I'd used to open up the container of marijuana. I just kept driving and driving and driving and driving the knife down.
When you say driving the knife down, Sam, were you stabbing Blaze?
At that point, yes, I was.
In an effort to try to dispel any argument that this was a hate crime, Morrison asks Sam Woodward two final questions.
When you drove to Blaze Bernstein's house to pick him up, Sam, were you planning to kill him that night?
No, not at all.
Did you hate him because he was gay?
No, not at all.
But now, here's where the gamble of putting Woodward on the stand could either pay off or lose big.
Okay, so walk me through it, sir.
On cross-examination, Jennifer Walker attacks Woodward's credibility.
The left side of his neck was closest to you, right? If he's sitting to your right?
Everything was a blur.
Well, how did you stab him 14 separate times on the left side of his neck when he was sitting right next to you?
I can't remember.
And how did you stab him 5 separate times on the right side of his neck when he was sitting to your right?
I can't remember.
After a trial full of fits and starts, spanning almost 3 months, the case goes to the jury. The jury deliberates for about 8 hours.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Samuel Woodward, guilty of the crime of first-degree murder.
It's an emotional moment, even for the court clerk.
A felony and violate. Just 1 sec.
Sure.
I've prosecuted a lot of murder cases, and I can't say I've ever seen a court clerk react like that.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find it to be true that the defendant, Samuel Woodward, committed hate crime, first-degree murder.
We are thrilled with the verdict, which holds Samuel Woodward accountable for the brutal, violent, painful murder of our son. Justice has been served. Thank you.
Breaking news now, an emotional afternoon in an Orange County courtroom. The sentencing has just been handed down for the man convicted in the hate crime murder of Blaze Bernstein.
This time the court does sentence the defendant to state prison for the term prescribed by law, which is life without the possibility of parole.
The jury said that they saw this as a hate crime and that hate was not going to get you anywhere in this world.
In the 7 years since Blaze Bernstein's murder, the family of Sam Woodward has never spoken out beyond their court testimony. But the Bernsteins say the Woodwards did leave something for them back in 2018.
Have they reached out to you, by the way?
Yeah.
We found a note under our doormat.
What did it say, this note?
Orange County Sheriff's investigator Sergeant Dylan Jansen knows Borrego Park a lot better than he would like to. In the initial days of the investigation, how many hours would you say you spent at this park here?
Countless. I spent a lot of time over here just looking, thinking, analyzing, what was the truth, what's not the truth.
We may never know exactly what happened the night Blaze was murdered or what that last text message meant. But Sergeant Jansen can answer one question based on the evidence.
That cell phone, even though it was damaged, we were able to send it to various companies to restructure the cell phone and extract any and all information on there.
Were there any pictures of that night?
No.
This park is pretty meaningful for you.
So we stop here and go check out the garden of rocks that are now over in the corner.
Do you feel that you get a little bit of closure each time you put one more rock down?
I don't even know what closure is. You lose a child. I think maybe closure for me will be just being able to look at all of these things and be happy.
Almost 7 years after I walked in Borrego Park with the Bernsteins, the memorial of painted stones honoring their son has blossomed. Jeannie and Gideon have both moved away from Foothill Ranch, but they tell me they still find solace in this place.
In the Jewish tradition, it is a thing that you put rocks at a gravesite.
And there's a permanence to it.
It gives us some feeling of connection to people, the people that will hear our story and understand the importance of eradicating hate in this world. This is about love.
Since 2018, the Bernsteins have been building a movement. They call it Blaze It Forward.
The Blaze It Forward campaign was based off the idea that as a community, we can make a difference and we can change the way that this world works. We were able to take that in my brother's honor to try and encourage people to just do one good thing every day.
They participate in local pride parades, and Jeannie hosts a podcast featuring people doing good in the world. Sam Woodward's parents, Blake and Michelle Woodward, never responded to an interview request with ABC News, but they did write a letter to the court, submitted at sentencing. It reads, in part, "In the past, you could look into Sam's eyes and be surprised at the level of sensitivity and warmth. It's one of his best traits. Now, he's too vulnerable to let you look him in the eyes. He committed a crime, but he is not a person without value, unworthy of respect."
Speaking about the Woodward parents, they left a note at your house in 2018, right?
They did. At the time, I thought it was infuriating because one of the things that they said in that letter was that that both families are going through a hard time right now. I don't think that she had any idea how hard of a time we were having.
But there's another letter that holds more meaning for Jeannie and Gideon, discovered after the trial, tucked among the colorful painted stones of Blaze's memorial.
This is a copy of a note that was left for us in the park by one of the jurors. She basically says in this letter to Blaze that she's really sorry that she didn't get to know him.
Thank you everyone for coming to class today.
So Blaze would be 27. Do you ever think about what he would be like today had he lived?
He'd be doing something fantastic. I know that about Blaze, and he'd be making people happy. That's what he did. Blaze is always on my mind. I think about him from the minute I wake up until I go to bed at night. He was my person.
You take it. It's on record.
He was a piece of man. He's gone. But I'm still here, and whatever he's done to make an impact on this world is what we're going to leverage and try to make sure that people never forget about our son and what happened.
Sam Woodward's defense lawyer, Ken Morrison, David, says his client didn't get a fair trial. Woodward has appealed.
Morrison claims there are several appellate issues because of evidence the jury was not allowed to see. In the meantime, that is our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.